All right, we're with Michael and Dora from Azimo. It's been a hell of a year. It's only June. Series C funding. How much did you raise?
We raised $20 million.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. And
we could have raised more actually. So we had a number of term sheets on the table.
Yeah.
But we figured that actually getting us to profitability, which will happen in the next 12 months, was one of the most important things that we wanted to do. And we figured that, raise enough to do that, and then you're good.
It's a nice position to be in. We could have raised more, but and from a great, it's Japan, right?
Yeah. So Rakuten are,
they're okay.
they're doing pretty well. It's a multi-billion-dollar company in Japan, and they kind of own both financial services, marketplaces, and increasingly telephony in Japan. And then one of the aspirations that we've got is to be big in Asia. They've been very helpful with some of the relationships that we need to build in the region to do that.
And speaking of Asia and Dora, if I read it right, you're now operating in China when it comes to money transfers, which is an okay market.
Very large market, difficult market, but we opened up the route for peer-to-peer for the Chinese market. We had it in the past for sure, but it was only $2, and now it's in local currency. So it's the first few months, and it's doing really well.
So I'm curious, Michael, for you, again, it's been a good year, but looking forward, right, for the rest of 2018, and we were talking earlier about this. This is really a circus at Money 2020, right?
It is a circus. It's a zoo, a circus, whatever you want to call it.
It's even themed a circus this year.
Yeah,
it's only been open 25 minutes. And it's stacked.
And it is nuts, right? It's already kind of crazy. So obviously, this is doing incredibly well. Azimo's doing incredibly well, right? I think you reported like triple-digit growth.
That's correct. Yeah.
That's okay.
The last year, we've actually seen our growth accelerate. So even as we've scaled up, particularly actually continental Europe. So Germany, France, Spain, big markets for us, and they're going really well. So it took us a while to get the local language capability, the payment capability, and the kind of routes that we needed for cross-border payments in those markets. But actually, they've done phenomenally well in the last 12 months, and we're kind of hoping that's going to continue.
What do you think? What's been driving that growth? Do you think is it word of mouth, stability?
So my market, it depends on whose numbers you trust, but the World Bank tell us that something like 90% of people still use an offline service. So when they're sending money, individuals still go to a high street location and they hand over cash. And that's starting to shift. And that's a sort of big one-time shift from 90% offline to 90% online. And in 5 or 10 years' time, there's not going to be any of these high street retail locations left. So I think we're benefiting from being in market as that shift takes place.
So Dora, I'm going to give you a chance. This is when you say it's the leadership team that has helped explode since you're sitting next to Michael.
Of course.
But you've also had some good hires, right? You have a new COO coming out of PayPal.
Yeah, absolutely. Richard Ambrose came from PayPal. He used to be chief of staff there in Europe, so he's really brought the team together, has made us more disciplined between Poland and London. We have 2 offices. Our product team sits in London. Our engineering and CTO sit in Krakow, so we have a lot of back and forth. And Richard has been very good at making everything work.
It speaks highly of the company, too, and you got to be proud of that, right? When you look at talent that you're bringing in at that level, you should be proud.
Yeah, no, I think.
Come on, Michael,
I think he's lucky to work with us, to be honest. If you look at where the exciting stuff is happening in payments right now, and PayPal is a phenomenal company. It's got very large very quickly, and they've done some interesting stuff. I think the iZettle deal is going to be super interesting. They bought our competitor in the US. They bought Zoom. But I think if you look at where the real opportunity, where the really exciting thing is are happening in payments right now, it's kind of the guys who did their Series A a couple of years ago and are now really scaling up, and they're becoming global players. So yeah, I think it cuts both ways.
So, and I would agree with you. We're seeing that more and more, right? Out of the big tech companies and even big banking, we're seeing folks move into established companies like Azimo.
Yeah, and I think that's generally what happens is first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they want to partner with you, and ultimately you either win or you end up working very closely together. So I think you're starting to see a little bit more M&A activity with the really big players buying into some of these fintech companies, with the really big players doing much deeper partnerships. And previously it was all lip service to fintech, something that you rolled out for the analyst presentation. But these days, when you talk to CEOs of big payments, traditional payments companies or legacy players, they know this is the future. They've got to do something pretty important. They've got to do something pretty big. So my perception is that you'll see the M&A trend accelerate, and you'll see more and more partnerships. I mean, we're on day one of Money 2020. I'd be surprised if you don't see a couple of big announcements in this space.
You'll see a couple of big announcements, and you'll see a couple of announcements pulled back. That's what we always see, right?
I'm sure. Yeah. You're on the sharp end of that.
Not happening. Well, it's been a great year. I'm proud of both of you. I've known y'all for a while now. I've been watching the company, and it's one I talk about a lot. So thank you for proving me right. That's always wonderful. Thanks for coming by.
Pleasure to be here.
Dora,
thank you.
It is always good seeing you.
Enjoyed the show.
I will. Good. There you go. He edits really. Oh, sorry. Do you like that? We need a seal that can sit there and do that.